Hello, everyone. We are so honored and excited that you're joining us. Let me start by saying someone thought a lot of you to invite you here today or to listen to the recording. We truly believe that we have a gift in our hands to give, and you may be watching this as a current client of one of the coaches that invited you, or you're brand new, learning everything you hear today for the first time. We welcome you. My name is Charlotte, and I'm honored to share with you some of the stories that we have representing people in different walks of life tonight. But we have a common theme of teachers. And these people are amazing. They've been able to do some incredible things in their health and for their families, as well as help many, many people along the way. Okay, as you all know, we have some big holidays coming up. We often hear that this time of year is frustrating and disheartening because of how often get-togethers with family and friends also come with buffets full of unhealthy foods and well-meaning family members encouraging us to indulge in piles of desserts. Just blink if you found yourself in this situation when the holidays come around. Even for the members of our community thriving in ultra health, these events can be difficult situations. So the purpose of this gathering, this community gathering, is we want you to bet. We want to leave you better than we found you. We want to leave you equipped with confidence and knowledge that this is possible to enjoy the holidays for what they are meant to be, a time to create memories with your loved ones, without compromising your goals or your habits of health. We'd like to provide you with some resources we found helpful on our journey as a gift to you for attending this call. It's going to be a PDF that's packed full of tips and tricks and tactics to help you navigate sometimes the endless temptations that you're going to face in the next few weeks. Plus, it will provide you with lots of healthy recipes that are holiday themed, and you can try them out on your family and see if they even notice the difference. All right, well, I'm honored to get to share my story first. My story starts almost 10 years ago. At this point, I was 2 years out of graduate school. I have a master's in marine biology, and I did teach. I taught undergraduate biology for one semester, and that is it. I had no kids, but let me tell you, I thought I knew it all, and I thought I could run my weight off. You see the picture in the upper left-hand corner? I ran a half marathon thinking, surely the training for this marathon, it'll help me get down to my goal weight. Well, the day of the marathon came, I didn't lose a single pound. And I was devastated, not to mention embarrassed. I didn't want to show anybody these race pictures that you're supposed to be so proud of. And I knew I needed to make some changes. My friend here in town was my coach, or is my coach now, but she wasn't then. But she had to share this program with me at least a half a dozen times before I finally said yes. And I'll never forget the last time she shared it before I said yes, she turned around and she said, Charlotte, I got to tell you, if you could have done this on your own, you would have done it by now. And I thought, wow, that was gutsy for her to say something like that. But it's kind of what the dose of medicine I needed. I went on to lose 25 pounds in 2 months. Ooh, I was flying high. I was so excited about what I had found and kind of felt like I cracked the code and I wanted other people to know about it. A lot of years between these pictures, I have had 2 children and I got to utilize the Nursing Mothers program and lose the baby weight. It just made me feel so good. And I think the most important thing in my life right now is to be able to give the next generation, my children, an opportunity to learn healthy habits that I wasn't taught, things that just weren't in the vocabulary in our household, just weren't commonality. And I hope one day that they won't struggle like I did in my own health journey. And I could go on, but what I'm most excited about is how my decision to get healthy has created this ripple effect in a few others that you're going to hear from today and get the privilege of hearing their story. So without further ado, first up, we have Katie. Katie, if you could come off mute and share your story.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Katie, and I am a teacher. I teach the 6th through the 8th grade in a little tiny school, and all that kind of goes with that. My story started a couple years ago. I became a client in January of 21. And, when I think about like what kind of led me to that decision was I just, year after year, I would gain a little bit of weight and gain a little bit of weight. And, I was a college athlete. I played basketball. I was always super active. But things just didn't, like the weight just didn't fall off, even though I was pretty active. My eating habits were not so great. And so I think with age that kind of the weight just kind of comes on, and it was really frustrating. And I finally just decided, okay, enough is enough. And I reached out to one of my friends who I saw online, who made some changes, and jumped on board. And one of the best decisions of my life. I lost 40 pounds in about 4.5 months and was just super stoked. And so kind of along the way, I decided that I too wanted to pay that forward, just because it was such a great experience. One of the things that I love about this program is just how simple it is. And being a teacher, we're kind of on the go. We're going all the time. We can't always leave the classroom and do this and that, but it's super easy for me to grab a bar, to grab a shake. I don't have to do a lot of thinking about it. And that part I really loved. And so, that's what kind of sold me on this particular program. But it's not just the losing the weight, it's the whole part, right? Because it's more of a wellness program. It's not just a diet. And I think when I first started, I thought of it as a diet. And then as I started to get more involved in it, realized this is really more of a lifestyle change. And that's what keeps me moving forward in my health, is that it's really a lifestyle change for me. And it's not always easy. I'm not going to lie. It's not always easy. And the holidays, a lot of times, are one of the hardest parts, because you are surrounded by family, and there's lots of foods and lots of parties and lots of things like that go on. And you do have to be focused in your health. And so that's kind of what we're here today, is to give you a few little tips and tricks about what we do. And so one of my biggest tips is during the holiday season, it's not like we do a lot of drinking, but there's usually wine or little mixed drinks or things like that. And that's one of those things that we don't necessarily want to partake of. And so what I always do is I have a nice little goblet glass, right? I love doing something like this. And then I will bring a drink of my choice. So I love these ice drinks because they're super easy to just fill up. Right. And then I can have a beautiful drink in my pretty glass and still feel like I am partaking and still doing all the fun stuff. So that's pretty much my little tip for this holiday season. And nobody really knows, right? Nobody knows what you're really drinking. So.
So good, Katie. Thank you so much. Okay, next up we have Gary. Gary, take it away.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Gary. I'm a fellow educator with these beautiful panelists that came on with us today. I've been teaching this is my 37th year, and back in 2017, my daughter gave me a wake-up call. My wake-up call was she was getting married, and she wanted her father to be healthy to walk her down the aisle. And that rolled into just a domino effect of my family really intervening in my life and asking me, pleading with me after many years to please do something about my health. I had blown up to well over 300 pounds. I was a basketball coach and a football coach for over 30 years. Late nights at the drive-throughs, not eating properly, year after year after year, and I was called out by my daughter, and so I made a decision. To change my life, and at that point, I had nothing to lose except the weight, right? So I went about it from January 2017 to June 2017. I took off 70 pounds for my daughter's wedding. So that was, and yes, it was not too terribly difficult when you have that motivation. And then I went on from there, fast forward a little bit, 16 months altogether, I lost 120 pounds. And really kept it off, the majority of the weight off, over 100 pounds off for going on 6 years now. So you might ask, how the world do you do this? And as Katie touched on, you have to change a lifestyle. More importantly, you have to change habits. And that's what we do. We try to change habits. We try to stack small little victories on top of one another, and we push forward. And having a huge accountability partner in this was massive for me. Having a health coach to bounce things off, to check in and check on you, was very, very vital. It still is. We still get together as a community, just like teachers get in a community in their school, and we chat, and we see what we can do to help people. In teaching, and Katie and Chris, you can back me up on this. What do all your students usually bring you for gifts? They bring you cookies and candies, and then the administration says, "Hey, we have lunch for you today. Go get the pizzas, go get the food trucks." So there's a lot of things we navigate, but we've learned how to navigate those things. And as Katie mentioned, one of the clues and tips was to bring a goblet. What I would suggest, and I call this the gauntlet season for my clients. I also coach quite a few people how to stay healthy. And one of the things I would do is I would bring something healthy. I wouldn't stick around the table. We all know the table that everyone converses around. Be the active one. Go out to the turkey bowl and throw that football at those kids. Go outside. Go play around. Distract yourself from the food. Is one of the things that I usually do that has helped me. So bring something healthy and stay active, and be the one that's the fun one with all those kids. You know, you're going to have a lot of kids during holidays. You know, make sure you partake and have some fun with them. So that's my clue.
So good, Gary. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Next up, we've got Chris. Chris, take it away.
All right. Well, I'm Chris Brum, and I'm very happy to be here. A little bit about me. I am on my 33rd year of teaching. I'm a health and phys ed teacher. And the sport that I coached for 28 of those 33 years was football and track and field, but track and field was my most dominant sport. And when you're at the high school level coaching high school track, there are a lot of weekend competitions. And so over the years, it wasn't an overnight phenomena. It took many, many years, but I just went from being in pretty good shape and whatnot. And then before you knew it, 10, 15 years goes by, and just eating on the weekends, crazy hours, and just, my lifestyle was just, basically a train wreck. And my whole focal point was I just wanted my teams to be successful. And, I was driven in that regard, but I was neglecting my personal health. And so I had a couple of real tough conversations, one with my wife and one with my best friend, and they kind of brought it to light. And I started searching, and I just was running into a lot of brick walls. I really felt helpless. And I'm a health and phys ed teacher, so I understand nutrition, but it's, knowing it's one thing and doing it's a totally different arena. And I just needed structure. I needed some steps. I needed a process. I just needed a lot of help. And so it just took one simple conversation. I was talking to a colleague of mine who coached track and field, and he had mentioned another coach that I know had coached against for many years in football, and said, "Hey, have you seen him recently?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't seen him. Why would I? He's at a different school, and I haven't seen him for quite some time. Why? Is everything okay?" And this colleague said, "Man, if he was standing right here today, you would not recognize him. I'm like, well, what happened? What, did he have like some kind of surgery or something? And he said, no, he's found some, it's a lifestyle change program or company or something. But I'm telling you, man, he looks healthier than I've ever seen him in years. You might want to give him a buzz. So, life takes over, and I kind of forgot about it. And a couple months went by, and then all of a sudden it clicked, and I was like, oh, I totally forgot. I need to reach out to him. So I sent him an email, and his name is Gary Obenauer. And I just said, hey, Gary, ran into a friend of ours. He was saying you're doing something to get healthy. I was just kind of curious. Gary responded by sending me an email the next day with fonts that were probably 12 inches. And I mean, they were the biggest fonts I've ever seen. They were almost bigger than the computer screen. And all it said was life changing. And that totally took me by storm. I was like, what in the world is going on? Life changing? What is he talking about? So I got on the phone. I reached out to him, and Gary and I talked for a little while, and he told me about Optavia and about healthy mindset, and just it turned out to be like Katie was saying, it's focused on so many different areas, not just nutrition and weight loss. So I started, and I talked to my wife, and she was looking pretty much for the same kind of thing. She had done some other programs before and just wasn't really satisfied with them. And so ironically, we ended up doing the same program at the same time, even though the whole time I thought she was going to do something different than I was, because we couldn't really pronounce the name properly at first. So we started in August of 2018, and exactly to the date, I started August 20th. February 20th, I was down 100 pounds. And as much as people get just so excited and pumped and overwhelmed by the weight loss, for me, of course, I was head over heels. I couldn't believe, the weight was just falling off. But I went and had blood work done for an annual checkup before I had started the program. And then I went at the 6-month mark, that February of 2019. And my doctor came in and he goes, how are you doing? I said, Doc, I'm doing really great. You got the blood work results in? He goes, okay, I want to know what you're doing. I said, Doc, what are you talking about? He goes, no. Playtime's over. Playtime's over. I want to know what you're doing. I go, well, I found a program and I've been using it for the past 6 months. He goes, well, what's it called? Tell me about it. He goes, because whatever it is, you're not going to believe the results. He showed me my triglyceride numbers, my LDL numbers, my A1C, everything was remarkably lower. For the first time, they had always told me that my LDL, my cholesterol, and especially my triglycerides, because unfortunately I have heart disease in my family, and my numbers were always awful, and doctor was always saying, hey, you got to do something. We got to get you on the right track. And I just never really did it. That's just the bottom line. And then after 6 months of being on Optavia's health program, he couldn't believe it. And it was so much lower. It's drastically better. And so it's just been, Gary was right. It is life changing. And as a result of that, I found out also about health coaching and myself being a health coach, which I thought was kind of a natural transition from being a health and phys ed teacher. And now here we are, 2023, and I've worked with tons of people, and some of them have been on meds for heart disease and diabetes and all kinds of things. And when they are on the program and start to get healthier, and a lot of times the medicines that they're taking, they're not required to take anymore, or they're at least, they're off them. It's just the joy in their voices. It's overwhelming. And so I've really enjoyed it. Health coaching has made a massive difference to me. Being mindful of my health is a total game changer. And with the holidays coming up, if I had a tip, I know there's so much stuff out there and there's a lot of temptation. And I liked what Gary said and I liked what Katie said. I think what I would suggest is something simple, like have something, if you can have something healthy and just light before you eat, just getting that into your body will settle down that appetite. And you can also do things like have a nice big ice cold glass of water and then eat slow. And then when you're done, get away from the table, get away from the kitchen, because the longer you sit there, the longer the likelihood is that you're going to continue to eat and graze and that kind of stuff. And that's where you really end up adding a lot of extra calories and stuff that you don't really need. So that would be my suggestions. But I've been very blessed to have found this program.
Thank you so much, Chris, Gary, Katie. Your all stories are very inspiring. I just wanted to briefly touch on what it is that we all do and then leave you with some tips for the holidays. So the Healthy Body portion of our program is made up of 4 components. We make life a little bit easier because most of us know what we should be doing to get healthier, right? I would love for you all to type into the chat something that you know that you should be doing. We know what to do, but we don't always do what we know. So we offer people tools to make the process of doing what you know a little bit easier, because if it's easy enough, then you'll do it. And if you do it consistently enough, you'll see results and you'll develop a habit. A tool is an instrument that makes a job easier. Think about a hammer, right? You can imagine trying to put a nail into a wall without a hammer. Yes, you could probably do it, but it's going to be a lot harder and it's going to be a lot more frustrating and take you a lot longer. These are the resources and tools that we use in our program. The first tool is the tool of accountability. You get a one-to-one personal coach that guides you and helps you clarify what it is that you want. Your coach is going to create a plan with you, and they will remind you of what you wanted when sometimes life starts to distract you. And I call this the power of saving face. And I got to tell you, it was very powerful on my journey and still is to this day. And the second tool is education. We have our Habits of Health system that addresses all of this, from sleep to stress management to nutrition to activity. And it comes in the form of a book and a workbook. And for those that would rather listen, we have this book in a podcast form or YouTube form. Also, every week we have our Habits of Health community call where we can tune in real time with thousands of other people making their health a priority. What this system is designed to do is to empower you to become the expert in your own health. The third tool is the simplicity factor when it comes to your healthy eating, because the truth of the matter is people become overwhelmed when they think of how complicated it may seem to be healthy. I don't know if our audience knows this or not, but eating healthy or eating frequently is actually healthy. Eating small protein, carb balanced meals throughout the day. So the idea of planning out 5 to 6 meals a day oftentimes overwhelms people to the point where they become paralyzed. So we make the whole process simple by utilizing another tool called Fuelings that are scientifically formulated to make sure that you're getting adequate nutrition no matter what stage of the journey that you're in. And then the fourth tool is the sense of community. Since we are in the business of helping people retrain their habits and develop a new way of living, it's important that we understand what influences human behavior. And nothing influences human behavior more than human behavior. So the people that we surround ourselves with, they determine our outcome. We leverage the power of peer pressure in your favor by plugging you into an incredible community of support. And I like to call this vitamin C, because vitamin C is a booster to your immunity when it comes to infections and disease. Well, community is our vitamin C. It boosts our immunity against discouragement and complacency, and maybe even those naysayers that happen around the holidays. And then there's our fifth component that's not pictured here. It's actually pictured in every little square of our faces. What the fifth component does is it raises the bar on accountability. Have you ever wished that you had weight loss insurance or simply a healthy habit insurance? Paying this forward and doing what we do as coaches makes you 10 times more likely to reach a healthy weight and continue on your health journey. Many people choose this route, and if it sounds interesting to you, make sure you ask the person that invited you to listen today. Reach out to myself or any of the people that spoke. We're easy to be found on Facebook. We would be honored to share our passion and explore this option with you. Now, here is one of the main things you came for. These are a few tips that we want to leave you with so that you can be equipped before the holiday events. Number 1, talk to your health coach or one of us from this call. We'd be happy to support you. We all have been in your shoes, and we will have insights into what might work best for you. This kind of support is really invaluable and you should take advantage of it. Number 2, talk to your loved ones beforehand. When grandma encourages you to have a big helping of pumpkin pie, she means well, and she's using food to express her love. Instead of waiting until that moment to talk to her about your health journey, reach out to her and maybe other members of your family to explain what you're aiming for and what you want to accomplish and why this is important to you. If you do this ahead of time, you can prevent pretty difficult and awkward conversations in the moment. And then rely on the buddy system. If you know you're going to be tempted to overeat or break from your health plan, ask somebody that you respect to hold you accountable. When you have somebody there to remind you of your health goals, making a healthy choice can become easier. And this one is my favorite: rehearse and visualize. If you think about Olympic athletes, one of the reasons they're so good at their event or sport is because they're constantly doing the mental rehearsal. You can likely predict the kinds of challenges that you're going to face over the holidays. So imagine the situations ahead of time and act them out in your mind, how you're going to respond. Don't feel silly. No one's ever going to know that you did this. But this little bit of practice can help you to overcome the momentum of the moment. Okay, eat ahead of time, drink lots of water. This was a theme tonight too. If you eat ahead of time and enter an event already feeling full, you will find it easier to say no to unhealthy foods. As the event progresses, drink lots of water. And if you have to eat more of something, go for the vegetables, not the casserole or the veggie trays covered in dressing and cheese. And then last but not least, give yourself a reward. Using the word reward might trigger you, but just think of something that you might have to look forward to that could be non-food related or drink related after you've achieved what you've set out to achieve for the day. Before you attend the event, think of something that you can give yourself for doing it. Make it personal and meaningful, maybe a day at the spa, or pick out a new outfit, go shopping online, maybe watch a TV show that you've been putting off because you've been working so much that you get to enjoy and relax with. Whatever it is, just make sure it's something that you can look forward to after the event's over. Remember, our goal here is for you to enjoy what really matters: time with loved ones. Holidays do not have to be all about food and drink, and you have the power and the ability to make that shift in your own life. So if you enjoyed this community event tonight, I'm so glad. Come back again to hear different stories and even maybe learn some more tricks and tips for the holidays. We're doing this again, not tomorrow, not Monday, but Tuesday and Wednesday. And you can take a screenshot of this slide to make sure you plug it into your calendar to come. It's the same time, same place. And then what makes us stand apart is our client support and community. Remember when I was talking about that fourth component, the fourth component of community, the people that we surround ourselves with determine our outcome? Well, even if you're not a part of our community yet, I'd like to encourage you to join us for the 3 days following Thanksgiving. What we've noticed is that sometimes those 3 days might even be harder than the actual day itself, because on Thanksgiving Day, we may make some choices that aren't in alignment with our goals. We're all human, we get it. But what comes next is a choice that you have to jump back into your healthy habits. With these quick calls, they're going to be 15 minutes each day following Thanksgiving. Our team of coaches want to gather with our clients and our health conscious friends to inspire, encourage, and celebrate one another for continuing to choose health in situations that aren't easy. We want to create a safe haven or an oasis, so to speak, for all of us that gather when we know that most of us are going to still be surrounded in the days after Thanksgiving by people that may not be in alignment with our health goals and might be continuing to push leftovers on us. Okay, so in conclusion, I just wanted to say that the information we've shared here is designed to really empower you to take the best care of yourself, not just during the holidays, but every day. And what we've mentioned or encouraged is not to replace any medical advice. Please seek support from a medical professional if you have concerns. You do deserve to have a very happy and healthy life. So from our healthy family to yours, have a wonderful week, and we hope to see you on another community call. Happy Thanksgiving.